New research shows educators are awarding higher grades for work that would have received lower grades in the past. And that's a practice known as grade inflation. Now that is a snippet from the article that is at the top of the page on birdlinks.com. That's a place where you can go for the latest and trending education news all in one place. Now it's really interesting because I remember early on in my teaching career being a part of a committee that I was really hesitant to be a part of because I didn't want to be away from my classroom, and it was about standards-based grading. And very quickly as I learned more a little bit about it, what I was hearing was, how can we increase grades? That's just what I was hearing. So those of you who are big fans of standards-based grading, please, please, please don't come at me. What I'm telling you is the way that it was presented to me by elementary by colleagues who had the elementary school background. I heard, my ears were hearing, how can we increase grades? That's what I was hearing. Now, additionally, when this information was presented to me, we were given information from just districts around the country, and I think that was the flaw in the presentation, because ultimately it didn't get off the ground in that district that I was a part of. And I think they didn't have, and this is one thing that I believe that now more than ever we have administrators and leaders in districts with advanced degrees. Well, how about those people put those degrees to work and produce data, conduct studies on the students in the district that they serve? And that's what I really like about this article here. Grade inflation is hurting Washington students, researchers say. These researchers, they've done the information on this district. This is what they are finding. They're finding that students, that teachers, it appears, are giving, they're awarding higher grades for work that would have received lower grades in the past. Now it's, they have to look into that. They have to look into the why of that. But I like that they're looking at their district, and they're not projecting that on other districts around the country, because I think that there's a danger in doing that and projecting on other districts around the country. And so it'll be interesting, and we'll be watching to see how the district responds to this, and if they ever figure out the why of this. Why is that happening? But that's the top story on birdlinks.com. Let's get into some of the other stories here. Now, this is an interesting one here. In Brooklyn, we've got a high school. They've launched the 13th grade. It happens that way sometimes. Sometimes we have students who just they're not yet ready. I know I was there myself. I remember I was scared the day before I graduated, because I knew that I was not yet ready to depend on myself, to take care of myself. I just wasn't ready. So they've got a 13th grade to help their grads successfully launch. Also, high school students think they're ready for college, but they aren't. And so these two stories, they are kind of related. They're married to each other. So so this article talks about what can be done to help students get ready by the time it's time for them to graduate. Also, Mexico teachers seek relief from pandemic era spike in school robberies. This is just a sad story. They're going in these schools and just stealing equipment, stealing resources from the schools. This is for the kids. And so that's really, really sad. Really, really sad story there. And here we go. As a principal, and I'm sure you can see this as well. Students are, it's just more, drugs are just more accessible. And that's just That's just so unfortunate. So unfortunate. We have a fifth grader here shared magic mushrooms and infused candy with 10 classmates at school. That's some serious stuff. I remember I had a student. I had to suspend a student who had some chips. It just blew my mind. Chips, the marijuana infused chips, unbelievable. They really can't do anything. What a time to be alive, right, ladies and gentlemen? All right, next up, tired of diesel fumes? These moms are pushing for electric buses, which do exist. There you see a picture of one right there. So I wonder, of course, there's an additional cost there, and you have to have the infrastructure, but these buses do exist. So check that story out to see what those moms are doing to reach their goal. And then we've got a little PD for you to round it out. 3 strategies to increase student participation. I just got through recording an episode of the Marvin Bird Show in which I was talking about how to discourage students from opting out. How to discourage students from opting out. And I will go ahead and link that in the description section as well, so you can check that out. So 3 strategies to increase student participation and 3 strategies to discourage students from opting out. I think that's some good PD right there. And the perfect thing about it is that you're in charge of it. You're in charge of the pace. You can start, stop whenever is convenient for you. So I encourage you to check that out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so that's it. Those are the top stories on birdlinks.com. I thank you for your time as always, and stay tuned. Birdlinks.com, birdlinks.com.